So, we have considered the density of the multivariate normal distribution in the previous class. Now, if we are doing random sampling from multivariate normal distribution, then we want to do the estimation of parameters, or we want to do the tests on the parameters. So, in general inferences on the parameters of a multivariate normal distribution. Firstly, I will discuss the estimation part here. So, let us consider say random sample from a multivariate normal population. So, we can consider say u1, u2, un. Let me use this notation. So, these are independent and identically distributed NP, mu, sigma random variables. So, that means these are the observations from a multivariate bivariate normal distribution. So, we have basically expectation of each ui that is equal to mu, and the dispersion matrix of ui is equal to sigma for I is equal to 1 to n. So, clearly we can see that if I define u bar is equal to 1 by n sigma ui I is equal to 1 to n, then expectation of u bar that will be equal to mu. So, an unbiased estimator for mu is the sample mean. Sample mean vector. Similarly, we can consider say 1 by n minus 1 s, that is equal to 1 by n minus 1 sigma ui minus u bar into ui minus u bar transpose I is equal to 1 to n. This is unbiased for sigma. Let me give the interpretation of this here. Let us consider the sample in this fashion u1, u2, un. I will write it in this fashion. The components of this is u11, u21 and so on up1. Similarly, the components of u2 are u12, u22, up2, and the components of un are u1n, u2n and so on upn. Let us consider say I consider this row vectors as y1 prime, y2 prime, yn prime, and this entire matrix we can use the notation say u transpose, which is of order p by n. So, we can consider say for example yi prime represents a random sample on the ith component, that is n mu I sigma I square. Now, let us also use the notation ui minus u bar, that is equal to u1 I minus u1 bar and so on upi minus up bar. Here individual ui bars are denoting 1 by n sigma uij, j is equal to 1 to n. Therefore, this term, that is 1 by n minus 1 sigma ui minus u bar into ui minus u bar transpose, that will represent. So, we can write it here 1 by n minus 1 sigma ui minus u bar into ui minus u bar transpose. This will represent 1 by n minus 1. The first component will be sigma u1 I minus u1 bar. From here we can write here, because if I am considering this multiplied by the transpose of this, then the first term will become sigma u1 I minus u1 bar square. Similarly, in the second diagonal it will become sigma u2 I minus u2 bar square, and in the half diagonal it will become sigma u1 I minus u1 bar into u2 I minus u2 bar, etc. Here it will be sigma u2 I minus u2 bar square, and so on, sigma up I minus up bar square. Now, you can see that 1 by n minus 1 sigma u1 I minus u1 bar square, this is unbiased for sigma 1 square, and so on. 1 by n minus 1 sigma u1 I minus u1 bar into u2 I minus u2 bar, this is unbiased for sigma 1 2, etc. So, S by n minus 1 is unbiased for So, we are able to consider the unbiased estimation for mu and sigma. We had the concept of minimum variance unbiased estimation in the case of a scalar parameter. Since we are dealing with the vector parameter here, that concept is no longer valid here. Of course, we can consider component wise minimum variance unbiased estimation here. Now, in the case of one variable, we have seen the, like for example, in normal mu sigma square, we have also looked at the maximum likelihood estimators. In the one dimensional case, the maximum likelihood estimator for mu was the sample mean, and for the sigma square it was 1 by n sigma x I minus x bar square. So, here we can consider analog to that, and we will get, here we have defined S. So, for the variance covariance matrix sigma, we will get S by n, and for mu we will get u bar. Let us prove this here. So, maximum likelihood estimation of parameters of a multivariate normal distribution. So, as before, we have u1, u2, un is a random sample from normal np mu sigma. Now, let us go back to the density function of ui. Yesterday we have seen the density function of the multivariate normal distribution when the rank of sigma is full. It is given by 1 by 2 pi to the power p by 2, determinant of sigma to the power half, e to the power minus half, x minus mu prime sigma inverse x minus mu. Now, we write this density for u1, u2, un. So, the likelihood function that is, we write L mu sigma, and then of course, your u1, u2, un. I continue using capital letters here just for convenience. So, it will become determinant of sigma to the power minus n by 2, 2 pi to the power n p by 2, e to the power minus 1 by 2 sigma ui minus mu prime sigma inverse ui minus mu, I is equal to 1 to n. So, firstly let us simplify this expression. Sigma ui minus mu transpose sigma inverse ui minus mu. Here we add and subtract sample mean vector. So, this becomes sigma I is equal to 1 to n ui minus u bar plus u bar minus mu prime sigma inverse and we expand this. So, sigma ui minus u bar prime sigma inverse ui minus u bar plus n times u bar minus mu prime sigma inverse u bar minus mu plus twice sigma ui minus u bar prime sigma inverse u bar minus mu I is equal to 1 to n. Now, if I consider here summation and apply on this, I get u bar minus u bar. So, this term is actually 0, this term vanishes. So, we are getting only this part here. So, we can rewrite the likelihood function as L mu sigma, that is equal to determinant of sigma to the power minus n by 2 divided by 2 pi to the power n p by 2 e to the power minus 1 by 2. Now, if you look at this term, this is actually scalar. So, if it is a scalar term, I can also write it as trace of this. Now, trace of this can also be written as trace of this. I interchange the order here, I multiply it on this side. So, let me write it here, it is equal to sigma ui minus this is sigma ui minus u bar prime sigma inverse ui minus u bar minus half n u bar minus mu bar prime sigma inverse u bar minus mu bar. Okay. Now, this term I write as e to the power minus half trace of sigma ui minus u bar prime sigma inverse ui minus u bar. Now, in the trace, so this will become summation here, I can take this summation outside. So, this will become determinant of sigma to the power minus n by 2 divided by 2 pi to the power n p by 2 e to the power minus 1 by 2 trace of sigma inverse ui minus u bar ui minus u bar transpose minus n by 2 u bar minus mu sigma inverse u minus mu. Now, I take this summation sign inside, then this will become summation here, that is becoming s here. So, this is determinant of sigma to the power minus n by 2 pi to the power n p by 2 e to the power minus half trace of sigma inverse s e to the power minus n by 2 u bar minus mu prime sigma inverse u bar minus mu. Now, we want to maximize this with respect to mu. Let us consider firstly the maximization with respect to mu. We first maximize with respect to mu. Now, there is no mu term appearing here. So, that means basically we have to minimize this term. So, that is we minimize u bar minus mu bar mu prime sigma inverse u bar minus mu. Now, sigma and sigma inverse, they are positive definite. So, u bar minus mu prime sigma inverse u minus mu is always greater than or equal to 0 with equality at mu head is equal to u bar. So, u bar is the maximum likelihood estimator of mu. So, if I have reduced the second term in the likelihood function to 0, so my likelihood function is now reducing to this term alone. So, now let us consider the maximization of this with respect to sigma. So, now L mu sigma reduces to determinant of sigma to the power minus n by 2 divided by 2 pi to the power n p by 2 e to the power minus half trace of sigma inverse s, and we want to maximize. So, let us consider maximization of log of L, that is equal to minus n by 2 log of determinant of sigma minus half trace of sigma inverse s. So, this we want to maximize with respect to sigma. So, if I here actually you can see I can put plus here and then this will become minus. So, if I consider in terms of sigma inverse and we can denoting the terms of sigma inverse by say sigma I j, if we differentiate log L with respect to sigma I j and equate to 0, we get sigma I j is equal to S I j by n. Now, in order to prove that this is maximum likelihood estimator, we should show that actually this is maximizing. That means, we must show that to prove that S by n actually maximizes log of L, we must show that n log determinant sigma inverse minus half trace sigma inverse s is always greater than or equal to n log s by n inverse minus half trace of s inverse n s, or you can say that this difference should be greater than or equal to 0. Now, this difference if you consider, this is n log determinant of sigma inverse minus trace of half I can remove here, because in this term 2 divided by 2 was here and here also divided by 2 was there. So, I can take it out. So, this I can remove and this term also I can remove. So, this will become trace of sigma inverse s minus n log. So, now it is s by n inverse, and here s inverse s will become I. So, I of p dimension. So, trace will become equal to p. So, the term will become p here minus, and there is a n in the denominator. So, it will become n p and this will become plus here. Now, this term we can write as n times log of sigma inverse S by n determinant. I am combining this term with this minus trace of sigma inverse S by n. I am taking out n here plus p, that we can write as n times log of. Now, here we do some manipulation. This sigma is actually sigma inverse S. So, we can write it as sigma to the power minus half sigma to the power minus half S. Now, determinant of A B is equal to determinant of B A. Now, this type of breakup was allowed provided we assumed sigma to be a positive definite matrix. That is why sigma inverse is existing. It is a positive definite matrix. We were having the decomposition, and from that decomposition the inverse was also possible, and then the half matrix was also allowed. If we remember the calculations that we did in one of the previous lectures. So, we will use that thing here. So, this I can write as log of determinant of sigma to the power minus half S sigma to the power minus half by n minus trace. Now, in the trace also same argument can be used, because trace of A B is also equal to trace of B A. Now, this is equal to n times log of product of lambda I is equal to 1 to n minus sigma lambda I is equal to 1 to n plus p. Here lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda p, they are characteristic roots of sigma to the power minus half S sigma to the power minus half by n. And since this is we are starting with a positive definite, these are all positive. Now, if we consider log of x minus x plus 1, this is always less than or equal to 0 if I take x is equal to 0. So, if you look at this term, this is always going to be less than or equal to 0. So, actually we wanted to prove that S by n maximizes. So, in the log L I substituted sigma is equal to S by n, that is why I got n log S by n inverse minus trace of sigma inverse, that was becoming S by n inverse S. So, I should show this is less than or equal to 0, not greater than or equal to 0. So, this is what we are able to prove. So, S by n is maximum likelihood estimator of sigma. Also, if we look at the likelihood function, which is actually the joint density function form that we have written here. So, from here we can also conclude that u bar and S, it is a sufficient statistics for this problem. From an application of the factorization theorem on the joint PDF of u1, u2, un, we conclude that u bar and S is sufficient. So, this fact will be further useful in the inference problems. So, let us summarize. We have considered the multivariate normal distribution, and we have discussed several properties of the multivariate normal distribution. Now, one or two important points that we saw was use of a non-central chi-square distribution, because we have seen that the sum of squares of independent normal random variables is a central chi-square. So, if we are considering normal distribution with some non-zero mean, and then if I consider the sum of squares, then we will get a non-central chi-square. So, I will now introduce non-central distributions. They are extremely useful in the multivariate theory. So, let me start with the non-central chi-square, and then gradually we will talk about non-central T and non-central F distributions also. So, we talk about non-central chi-square distribution. So, let us consider say x following normal mu 1 distribution. We have seen that if x follows normal 0 1, then y is equal to x square has a chi-square 1 distribution. Now, if x is normal mu 1, then x minus mu square will be chi-square 1, but what about x square itself? So, let us derive the distribution here. To derive the distribution, we can consider the distribution of y. So, let us consider the CDF of y. So, naturally this is going to be 0 if y is less than 0. So, this is equal to modulus x less than or equal to root y if y is positive. So, let us consider this portion here. So, this is equal to probability of minus root y less than or equal to x less than or equal to root y. Now, that is equal to, we transform it to standard normal, then this is becoming z is less than or equal to root y minus mu, and here minus, here z follows normal 0 1. So, this in terms of capital phi function, which is the CDF of standard normal distribution, we can write it as So, we have derived the cumulative distribution function of x square. So, we can also find out the probability density function. So, derivative of capital phi will be small phi. See, let us revise the definitions. This small phi t denotes the PDF of standard normal distribution, that is phi t is equal to 1 by root 2 pi e to the power minus t square by 2, and capital phi x, that is nothing but the cumulative distribution function, that is CDF of normal 0 1 distribution. So, if I differentiate capital phi, I will get a small phi root y minus mu, and I will get 1 by 2 root y, and here I will get, there is a minus here and there will be a minus here. So, it will become plus 1 by 2 root y small phi of minus root y minus mu. This is for y greater than 0, it is 0 for y. So, of course, equality at 0 we may include at one of the points, that does not make any difference here. Now, this we simplify, we can write it as 1 by 2 root y, and 1 by root 2 pi will also come out, and I will get e to the power minus half root y minus mu square plus 1 e to the power minus 1 by 2 minus root y minus mu square. I am writing the part where the density is positive. In the 0 part I am not writing here. Let us simplify this portion. So, this is becoming equal to 1 by 2 root 2 pi y, and this term here I can write e to the power minus y by 2 minus mu square by 2 plus mu root y. Similarly, in the second part it will become minus y by 2 minus mu square by 2, and this one will give me the minus sign minus mu root y. So, this term I can keep outside, it will become e to the power minus y by 2 minus mu square by 2 divided by 2 root 2 pi y. I get e to the power mu root y plus e to the power minus mu root y. If we consider the expansion of e to the power mu root y and e to the power minus root y minus mu root y, so this becomes simply e to the power minus y by 2 minus mu square by 2 divided by, here alternative terms will be plus and minus. So, they will get cancelled out and the even terms will get added up, and if you add then you will get 2 times. So, this 2 will go away, I will get divided by root 2 pi y sigma mu root y to the power 2 k divided by 2 k factorial, k equal to 0 to infinity. Now, let us substitute here, say mu square by 2 is equal to say lambda, then this will become e to the power minus lambda minus y by 2 divided by root 2 pi y sigma lambda to the power k 2 to the power k y to the power k by 2 k factorial. I multiply and divide by k factorial here. So, let us simplify this here. This will become equal to, I combine the terms in a particular way, e to the power minus lambda, lambda to the power k by k factorial 1 by 2 to the power 2 k plus 1 by 2 gamma 2 k plus 1 by 2 e to the power minus y by 2 y to the power 2 k plus 1 by 2 minus 1. So, I have combined all the terms in a very particular way. Let us see how it is coming. So, e to the power minus lambda, lambda to the power k by k factorial I am writing here. Then there is another term, that is 2 k factorial, and then there will be a k factorial here. So, here I can actually cancel the terms, like here I will get 2 k. So, I will cancel with the first term here, then I will get 2 k minus 2, that I cancel with k minus 1 and so on. Now, what is remaining is 2 k minus 1, 2 k minus 2 and so on, 2 k minus 3 and so on. So, that terms I combine and it can be written as a gamma 2 k plus 1 by 2, because there is a divided by 2 term coming here. Now, the terms which I left here, that is for example 2 k, so there was a 2 here, then there was another 2 in the 2 k minus 2 and so on, that will be again coming here, and then there is a square root 2 here. So, that I put together as 2 to the power k plus half. Then there is a e to the power minus y by 2 term, that I write here, and the power of y to the power 2 k by 2, and then here we have minus half here. So, that I write as half minus 1. So, this particular way of writing down this gives it an interpretation that it is equal to sigma e to the power minus lambda lambda to the power k by k factorial f of 1 plus 2 k y, where this f m y denotes the density of chi square m distribution. So, the interpretation for the density function of a y which is equal to x square, here y is equal to x square, and the interpretation for the density of that is, it is a weighted, because these are Poisson weights of central chi square. So, this is the PDF of non-central chi square on 1 degree of freedom and the non-centrality parameter lambda. Lambda is actually mu square by 2. This is a weighted PDF, and the weights are actually the Poisson weights here. So, now let us consider x to be n p mu I. That means, I am considering p components. So, x 1 x 2 x p are independent normals with means mu 1 mu 2 mu p, and variances are unity and they are independent, and in general I am assuming mu to be non-zero, because at 0 this will simply give me chi square, central chi square. So, now I am looking at y is equal to x prime x, that is sigma x I square, I is equal to 1 to p. So, then this has non-central chi square with p degrees of freedom and non-centrality parameter lambda, that is half mu prime mu, that is sigma mu I square by 2. Let us look at this. Let us define gamma to be an orthogonal matrix with first row as say mu prime by norm of mu and other rows are orthogonal to it. That is, I am writing gamma is equal to something like mu prime by norm of mu, and other rows these are orthogonal, okay, orthogonal to first row. Let us consider say z equal to gamma x, then z will follow n p gamma mu I. But what is gamma mu? Gamma mu is equal to, because this is mu, so mu prime mu you will get, so that is norm of mu square. So, you will get norm of mu and other terms will become 0, because the other rows are orthogonal to the first row. So, if I consider x prime x, that is equal to z prime gamma, gamma prime z, that is equal to z prime z, because gamma is orthogonal, that is equal to simply sigma z I square. So, if I consider the first component, that is z is equal to z 1 z 2 z p, then Z1 square will follow chi square 1 lambda, that is non-central chi square distribution with 1 degree of freedom and lambda as the non-centrality parameter. See, this we will write as chi square p lambda, and this one we are writing as chi square 1 lambda. Sometimes we write it as chi square 1 lambda like this also, that is chi square p lambda. So, these are various forms of this notation here. So, Z1 square is chi square 1 lambda, and what you are getting is Z prime Z, that is equal to Z1 square plus Z2 square plus Zk square. So, these are central chi square. So, what you are getting chi square 1 plus 2k, where k is Poisson lambda, plus chi square 1 plus chi square 1. These are central and these are all independent. So, we conclude that Z prime Z follows chi square p plus 2k, that is PDF of say V or say W is equal to Z prime Z, that will be equal to e to the power minus lambda, lambda to the power k by k factorial f of p plus 2 k y for k equal to 0 to infinity. We can look at some elementary properties. For example, we have written actually y is equal to x prime x. Now, x prime x is equal to z prime z. So, this is actually y, the density of y. So, if we consider expectation of y, we can write it as expectation y given k, that is equal to expectation of p plus 2 k, because for a chi square distribution, if k is given, then it becomes central and it is equal to the number of degrees of freedom, that is equal to p plus 2 expectation of k, that is equal to p plus 2 lambda, that is equal to p plus norm of mu square. We can also consider the characteristic function of y, that is equal to psi y of t, that is expectation of e to the power I t y. So, that is equal to expectation of expectation e to the power I t y given k. So, that is equal to given k, it is a chi square. So, we know it is equal to expectation of 1 minus 2 I t to the power minus p plus 2 k by 2. Now, to consider the expectation of this with respect to k, we consider the k following Poisson lambda here. So, it is equal to 1 minus 2 I t to the power minus p by 2, expectation of 1 minus 2 I t to the power minus k, that is equal to 1 minus 2 I t to the power minus p by 2 because k is following Poisson lambda. Now, this term can be combined with this. So, you get it as simply 1 minus 2 I t to the power minus p by 2 sigma e to the power minus lambda by k factorial lambda by 1 minus 2 I t to the power k. So, you get that is equal to 1 minus 2 I t to the power minus p by 2 e to the power lambda by 1 minus 2 I t e to the power minus lambda. So, after combining the terms, Now, once we are able to determine the characteristic function of the non-central chi-square distribution, other characteristics like its variance and other things can also be found out easily. So, I am leaving this discussion at this point. Now, if you remember the definition of T distribution, the definition of a F distribution, we had made use of the chi-square. So, now if that chi-square is replaced by a non-central chi-square, the similar changes will occur. So, let me define non-central F. So, let say W1 follow chi square p lambda and W2 follow chi square say q, and W1 and W2 be independent. Then W1 by p divided by W2 by m is said to have a non-central F. With say, sorry, this is q here, with p and q degrees of freedom and non-centrality parameter lambda. Now, there can be a possibility that the denominator chi square is also non-central. So, we call it doubly non-central. Say W1 follows chi square p lambda and W2 follows chi square q tau. So, in that case, if we consider W1 by p divided by W2 by q, then this is called doubly non-central F. Of course, they should be independent. We can also define x following normal mu 1 and say W follows chi square n. Then, if I consider x divided by root W by n, then this is called non-central T. So, these are some of the distributions that are used in the when we deal with the general multivariate normal distribution, and these quantities will be appearing in the distributions of the test statistics which we use for constructing the test for the parameters of a multivariate normal distribution or for constructing the confidence intervals, etc. Now, in the case of univariate normal distribution, we had that x1, x2, xn, if they are it is a random sample, and if we consider the sample variance sigma x I minus x bar whole square divided by n minus 1, and we called it S square. We had obtained the distribution of that is n minus 1 S square by sigma square. It follows chi square distribution on n minus 1 degrees of freedom. Now, what could be a possible generalization of this to multi-dimension? Because in the multi-dimension for variance covariance matrix sigma, we are getting the sample variance covariance matrix S. So, we are considering S divided by n minus 1 as the unbiased estimator. So, what could be the distribution of that? So, we need the concept of a matrix distribution. So, in the next lecture, I would be covering this matrix distribution for this. Let us look at one or two applications of the sampling from multivariate distributions. Suppose I am considering say x1, x2, x3. So, these are considered as sweat rate, x2 is considered as the sodium content, x3 is considered as the potassium constant. So, this is data on 20 items. So, it is assumed that x1, x2, x3 this is having n3 distribution with say mu and sigma, and the data is calculated, data is observed in the following fashion. For item number 1, so for each item we are writing down the values of x1, x2, x3. So, it is 3.7, 48.5, 9.3. For the second item it is 5.7, 65.1, 8.0, like that up to 20. We are having for 20th item 5.5, 40.9, 9.4. So, if we want say maximum likelihood estimators of mu and sigma, then here we can consider mean vector, sample mean vector. We can consider here sigma say x 1 I is equal to 1 to n, 1 by n. So, 1 by 20 here, 1 by 20 sigma x 2 I, 1 by 20 sigma x 3 I, etc. So, this will give the MLE of mu. For calculation of the MLE of sigma, then I need to consider 1 by 19, 1 by 20 sigma x 1 I minus x 1 bar square, 1 by 20 sigma x 2 I minus x 2 bar square, 1 by 20 sigma x 3 I minus x 3 bar square. We also need to calculate the cross product terms like 1 by 20 sigma x 1 I minus x 1 bar into x 2 I minus x 2 bar, 1 by 20 sigma x 1 I minus x 1 bar into x 2 I minus x 3 I minus x 3 bar, 1 by 20 sigma x 2 I minus x 2 bar into x 3 I minus x 3 bar. For calculation purpose, the simplifications can be done. For example, one may use like 1 by 20 sigma x 1 say x 1 I square minus 20 x 1 bar square. So, this will get cancelled out, and similarly for the cross product terms we may consider 1 by 20 sigma x 1 I x 2 I minus x 1 bar x 2 bar, etc. So, one may consider these quantities also for simplification. I end up with some exercise. Let us consider say x following n 5 mu sigma, and I define mu as the 2 4 minus 1 3 0 and sigma matrix as 4 minus 1 half half 0 minus 1 3 1 minus 1 0 half 1 6 1 minus 1 0 sorry minus half minus 1 1 4 0 0 0 minus 1 0 2. So, this is a 5 by 5 matrix. Let us consider say x is equal to x 1 and x 2, where x 1 I am taking to be x 1 x 2 and x 2 I am taking to be x 3, x 4, x 5. So, find conditional distributions of say x 1 given x 2 is equal to say 0, 2, minus 1, and x 2 given say x 1 equal to 1, 5. Let us also take a is equal to say 1 minus 1, 1, 1, and b is equal to say 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, minus 2. Find the distributions of a x 1, b x 2, covariance between a x 1, b x 2, also find P, that is 2 by 2 matrix, and Q 3 by 3 such that P x 1 and Q x 2 are independently distributed. So, I am leaving it as an exercise, you can try. So, in the next lecture I will consider a matrix distribution for the sample dispersion matrix S. So, it is called Wishart distribution, and in the next lecture I will introduce this thing.